I've been getting the same question consistently every single stream and video, and I figured I would record a quick video here telling you guys what profession you should roll. And yes, this is Windows Paint from 98, okay? Everybody remembers this thing. We're gonna talk about what are the best professions that you should get in Classic WoW. Okay, so professions. Let's try the square brush, you know, very nostalgic. Oh, this actually looks kinda cool, doesn't it? There we go. So what professions should you go for? Well, we are not gonna be talking about the secondary skills much because you can just get them. There is no limit to how many secondary skills you can get. You can get cooking, first aid, and fishing at the same time. So if you like cooking and fishing, God bless you. We're gonna talk about the main professions for the sake of this video. Cooking is probably a cool profession to get if you wanna get it. First aid is pretty much mandatory, of course, if you're a warrior or a class with no heals. Even if you are a class with heals, you should go freaking first aid. What is the point of a profession? Okay, there is two general points to a profession. You can either make something that only you can benefit from, because if somebody else can make you the thing and give it to you, what is the freaking point of getting that profession? You should get something else. So that would be like the idea number one. For example, if you're an engineer, you get access to grenades, right? Only an engineer can use grenades. But for example, if you wanna get, I don't know, a flask, potion, I don't know how to draw stuff, okay? If you wanna get a potion, you don't need to be alchemist to get a potion. So that is not valuable. Number two reason, and it is a very important reason as well, is actually there's an S and there is two lines on it. Making freaking money, okay? That's the other reason you should possibly wanna get professions. Now, what kind of professions make you money? We're gonna be talking about that as well. We are probably gonna go in order here. So we're gonna go with alchemy first. When should you roll alchemy? I gotta say, honestly, pretty much never. I do not see a great reason to roll alchemy unless you like doing alchemy for money, and there is a couple ways to make money with alchemy. None of them are great, okay? Here's like a couple ways you can make money with alchemy. You are the first person to get a flask recipe when launched, when in fresh, right? The game just came out. When the game is fresh, if you get like a recipe like Flask of Titans, there is going to be like a very fierce cartel of like 5 people that get that recipe, because a lot of flask recipes, almost all of them, are a rare drop. They are worth thousands and thousands of gold. So if you get alchemy and you are one of the few people that get that recipe, and you can actually command quite a price for crafting the item, you can get a markup for it. Of course, in alchemy, in vanilla, there is no such thing as the alchemy specialization. There is no potion or whatever specialization like in TBC, and that means that there is a fixed return every time you invest in making a flask or a potion. You put one reagent, you get one flask every time. So there is not a lot of great ways to, actually there is 0 ways to profit straight up from alchemy when you are in vanilla WoW, unless you get a rare recipe, and that's like a big problem. The problem with professions like alchemy, and this is my problem with professions in WoW, is that there is no barrier to entry. Once you have the profession leveled up and the recipe, it costs you the same amount of work to get 1 flask or 20 flasks made. So what's gonna happen is there's gonna be some money to be made at launch, and over time it's gonna become pretty much 0. Anybody needs an alchemist, but it is worthless because there is no way to benefit from it. There is nothing that is unique to you as an alchemist, and there is no real way to make money after a couple days from launch. Once everybody gets this flask recipe, because for example, there's a recipe in Ubers, there is a recipe in LVRS. As you keep getting recipes, because as long as people keep doing the dungeons, they are gonna keep dropping, the premium an alchemist can command for making more recipes, for making more flasks and stuff, that's gonna go down. It's gonna keep going down, and it's gonna become pretty much nothing. So I would say alchemy is not a very good profession for you. Now we can talk about blacksmithing. Blacksmithing suffers from a little of the same problem, but you actually got some exclusive perks. Now blacksmithing is gonna make you 0 money, like no money whatsoever, and that's a problem. There is this trinket you can pick up in BRD, and this can be an important trinket here. Glimmering Mithril Insignia, okay? This is a super busted trinket for a lot of people, okay? It's a trinket that makes you immune to fear for 30 seconds. So it is basically a second Berserker Rage, and in the Horde, where Fear Ward is not a thing, remember, the Fear Ward is only a thing for the Alliance, for Dwarf Priests. So this is one of the big reasons you wanna get Blacksmithing, and this is only for tanks, okay? Fear immunity as the Horde is actually super valuable. For example, Nefarian. Nefarian is a fight where you can get feared and you can turn your face against the boss. And if you're a warrior, there is a really good chance that if you're feared and Nefarian hits you, that you can get one shot. It doesn't happen every time, but it can happen. And you got no way to fight against it if you do not get Glimmering Mithril Insignia. So that's a good reason to go Blacksmithing. Now let's see, there are a couple more items you can craft here. The Arcanite Reaper, it doesn't count because you can just buy it. You do not need Blacksmithing. The Arcanite Skeleton Key. For a druid tank, what would you recommend? Sadly, Blacksmithing. As a druid tank, you got no immunity to fear whatsoever. And since you have no immunity to fear, you cannot fight through mechanics. Because a warrior can feasibly do Berserker Rage and skip through the fear. But as a druid, you can't. So I would say the Blacksmithing trinket for fear immunity is way more valuable for a druid than for a warrior. Also, it gives you armor, and bears love armor. Bears are armor soaking machines. Any armor scales very well with a bear. So yeah, as a bear, that's what you should get. And then the next thing you can get from Blacksmithing is the Skeleton Key, which is basically the same as lockpicking for rogues. You can open lockboxes, you can open whatever, it's all the same. We're gonna talk about engineering, and the engineering has an alternative to the Skeleton Key, but the Skeleton Key is even better because it can open lockboxes and other chests and stuff. Blacksmithing can make a bunch of the best in slot gear in the game. We talked about it, the Arcanite Reaper, you know, the best stacks for 200s in the game. Every PvPer is gonna want one of these and all the stuff like that. But once again, the problem with professions in Classic, what is stopping you from just going to another blacksmith and telling him to make you the weapon and you pay him a little bit, and there you go, you skipped leveling Blacksmithing. So I would only recommend Blacksmithing for a tank. If you are a tank, that fear immunity is super valuable, especially for a druid, it is super valuable. And that's pretty much anybody that can benefit from Blacksmithing. Lionheart Helmet, you can just buy it, can't you? I'm pretty sure you can just buy it. It's not soulbound, see? You just buy it. You do not need Blacksmithing to get the Lionheart Helmet. Like, if Lionheart Helmet was only usable by a blacksmith, Blacksmithing would be like mandatory. Everybody would have to get it, right? But that's not the case. That's not the case. Yeah, you're gonna save some money because you don't have to pay a blacksmith, but you gotta pay for leveling up Blacksmithing and you're missing out on other professions, right? It's never worth it. Like, how many helmets do you gotta make to pay for like this mess, right? So I would say Blacksmithing is probably a nope. Leveling Blacksmithing is a pain in the ass. It is a super pain in the ass. It is super expensive, okay? Because metals are expensive. All the engineers use the same materials you use, right? So, and everybody's gonna go engineering. Spoiler alert, I'm gonna talk about that. So you're competing for materials with all the engineers, and there's gazillions on them. So you are always gonna be behind them. So very well, Enchanting. What are the things about Enchanting? Enchanting works very different in vanilla. The main value of Enchanting is disenchanting items. You got like a green item, like a sword, right? And you can just disenchant it and you get dust. The thing about vanilla is that level 1 enchanters can disenchant any item in the game. So that goes from a level 1 green to a level 60 epic from Molten Core. A level 1 enchanter can disenchant it, which is ridiculous. So if you do not care about professions, if you do not plan to level up profession, you should pick up Enchanting because you will get some benefit from having it. And here's the thing, right? What all the people do, everybody does this. You make a level 5 character, a level 5 ult, and you just go and pick up Enchanting, and you can just send your bank ult all the items that you picking up, like the greens and the blues and whatever you find, and you just disenchant it on your ult. There is no reason why your main should have Enchanting, right? The thing is, when you start raiding and when you start doing dungeons, at that point when you do dungeons and raids, the items are soulbound, and at that point you cannot just send them to your ult. So that's when it actually takes off, right? Enchanting for mages is excellent, yeah, because you're farming a bunch of dungeons if you're doing Sulfarak or something like that, and like that's the other thing about enchanting that is kind of cool, that if you're farming something for an extended period of time, disenchanting greens makes you save backspace because you can stack the dust, right? Yeah, enchanting and tailoring is very synergistic too, because what you make with tailoring you can disenchant to level up enchanting. As a matter of fact, you can disenchant some tailoring things and make like like a minor profit of it, because the disenchant materials are slightly better than the price of the cloth sometimes. That's kind of funny. So Enchanting has a couple perks here. Of course, Enchanting, you can enchant all your gear, but what is only exclusive for an enchanter, this is the trinket, yeah, the Smoking Heart of the Mountain. It's a 150 armor, which is pretty good for the bear, because once again you multiply armor, and you need fire resistance, because fire resistance items in Molten Core suck ass. There is nothing, right? So until you get your tier 1, your fire resistance is gonna be very bad, and you gotta do Ragnaros with that thing. That's gonna be a whole problem. That's another reason that stacking warriors is so cool in vanilla, because you can just take like 20 of them, and like if one pulls aggro, it's better when the other guy gets knocked up by lack of fire resistance. You can kind of coast on that. No, actually, the Smoking Heart of the Mountain as mitigation for a bear, believe it or not, Matt Proger, I think it stays best in slot until BWL. Until BWL is best in slot. But that is the only perk about an enchant. Once again, like in Alchemy, if you are one of the few people that get like a really good enchant recipe, the main one that you're gonna hear about, Crusader, if you get the recipe for Crusader, which is super rare, early on, you're gonna make $1 billion, okay? Think about it. There is 20 warriors per raid on a meta raid. Like if you're a tryhard, you got 20 warriors. Every single one of them wants this thing. Sometimes they want it on 2 weapons. And it is a super rare drop from Scarlet Monastery mobs. Not Scarlet Monastery, Scarlet Crusade. Here, Scarlet Spellbinder. It's a 1% chance to drop it off of these random guys in here. That's the only way you can get Crusader, guys. So if you get Crusader early on, you can charge people, it is not rare at all, to charge people 600 freaking gold at launch to get the Crusader enchant. And people will pay it. People will pay it. Because it is an insane enchant. Look at this. What is it? 200 strength on a proc? It doesn't say on the tooltip. That's weird. If I recall correctly, it was 200 strength on a proc, right? So people are gonna be willing to pay a lot of gold to use this. So Enchanting can make you a bunch of gold, but basically Enchanting has only these uses. You get the Enchanting recipes and you charge people a small premium for it, a very big premium at launch, but that's not gonna last forever. By the time 10 people get an enchanting recipe, is like pretty much worthless what you can charge for it, because once again, it is the same amount of work to enchant 20,000 weapons than to enchant 1 weapon, so there is no limit. If they put a cooldown on it, and that's something that they did in later expansions that vanilla is sorely lacking in my opinion, if they put a cooldown for like how many enchants you can do a day, enchanters would actually make freaking money, but they don't. So the only reason to go enchant is if you are gonna be like a mage and you're gonna be farming a bunch of dungeons and you're gonna wanna disenchant them, or if you just wanna be early on and get enchanting and get the recipes early and get some premium off of that. If you like sitting in Orgrimmar all day, there is quite a bunch of money you can make sometimes. Kinda like selling portals, and that's like kinda like a cool thing you can do as a mage. You can sit in Orgrimmar and sell portals and enchants, right? And water. Like I think enchanting is super broken for mages, for like their money maker, and that's pretty much it. There is nothing really good there. If you're a bear, you can make the Smoking Heart of the Mountain, I guess, but yeah, probably not. So that will do with enchanting, right? Okay, Herbalism is super simple actually. I don't think I need much explanation here. You go into the world. You're like a little Torrent guy. Torrents get +5 to Herbalism. Did you guys know that? So you just go into the world and you just pick up flowers. I don't know how to draw a flower. And then you sell the flowers. As you guys know, flowers, you need them to make a bunch of reagents to make alchemy, and that's pretty much it. They are very valuable, and if you can gather them, that's efficient. The problem is there is a limited amount of flowers in the world, a limited amount of nodes, and there's gonna be a lot of competition. For example, Black Lotus, the infamous limited amount of Black Lotus. I don't even know how to draw a lotus. You cannot really get money, a lot of money from Herbalism anymore. Now, what you should do is go Herbalism and mining, okay? Because if you go Herbalism and mining, you're gonna be running around the world anyway, because that's what you do Herbalism or mining. And if you have both, it doesn't matter what you find, you're gonna have double the chances of making money. So if you are gonna go herbalism or mining, I recommend you get both. There are reasons to go mining without herbalism. In my opinion, there is zero reason to go herbalism without mining. If you're an alchemist and you're successful at it because you chose it for a reason and not just because you felt like it, herbalism is not gonna be something you do. Like, if you wanna make money off alchemy, you're gonna be sitting in Orgrimmar all day. You are not gonna be gathering herbs. So I do not think herbalism is a good idea. You can pick up herbalism and mining while leveling, and that's something I'm gonna be talking about in a second. You can pick herbalism and mining when you're leveling, and then you can drop them and pick up a crafting profession instead. That's something you can do. So you go herbalism mining and then you go like drop herbalism and go engineering. That's good. That's a good idea. You're going hunter, not tailoring, okay? Toadcore, go leather worker because leather workers can also make bags. Did you know that? You can make bags out of leather too. There are 12 slaughters you can make actually. So go leather worker and you can make yourself gear and bags. That's better. And you can take skinning and that's easy to level. Okay, so herbalism, I'm gonna just leave it in there, guys. Herbalism is only a good profession if you plan to be a full gatherer, you commit to it, and you take mining and herbalism. There is no big perk you can get from herbalism at all. Now, as we were talking about, leatherworking, you can actually make yourself bags when you're leveling up, which is kinda cool. Imagine that's a stretched out cowhide, okay? That's what I try to do there. So leatherworking, you craft gear, that's it. You can make yourself bags when you're leveling. You can make Kodo leather bags. They are like a 12 slaughter. They are really good bags actually. But the main reason to go leatherworking, the Devil Sword set. Now the thing about the Devil Sword set is that it is all BOE. You do not need to actually get anything here. You can just buy it from a leather worker. Devil Sword set, of course, the best in slot set, I think all the way through tier 1, right? Like when, I'm gonna have to look that up. I don't think you will get something better than Devil Sword until like tier 2, right? That's a whole thing. Every 3 days, you can turn a deep rock salt into refined deep rock salt, and you need the refined deep rock salt to make the hide thingy, which is this thing, the cured rugged hide. This in most servers is like a 10 gold thing, so if you got an old that has leatherworking, or you yourself have leatherworking, it doesn't matter. Every 3 days, you can make this little cured rugged hide, and that's like 10 gold for free every 3 days. That's cool. That's a perk, and that's what I mean, right? If you put cooldowns on things, you can actually charge money for it because a cooldown has value. If you could make infinite deep rock salt, that would be worthless, right? That's another cool way you can make money as a leather worker. And as far as I know, that's pretty much it. Like, yeah, everything else is BOE. So if you want to level up leatherworking to make your gear, even if it is BOE, it is not a terrible idea because we're going to talk about skinning next. Most of leatherworking is free. If you pick it up alongside your leveling, you make leatherworking out of leather. Skinning is, in my opinion, the best leveling profession in the game. I am such a believer in skinning that I take skinning in every character when I level it. That's crazy, isn't it? But why is leatherworking so freaking cheap? You pick up skinning and you kill an animal and you just right click it and you skin it. You take the leather from that animal. What do you do to level a character? What do you do to level a character? You kill a bunch of animals. You go and you kill the boars for 20 hours. And then you do it for another 60 hours, depending on how fast you are to level. So you're always going to be killing freaking animals. There's always going to be dead animals in your way. So skinning costs you nothing. You only need a knife that is like 40 copper and training every 75 levels, which is almost nothing. It's pretty much free. It's like 1 gold in total. And you can level the entire profession while you level. No loss of time. And every little piece of leather you get, you can dump into leatherworking to make yourself bags. You can make yourself free bags, which is insanely strong, or you can just vendor the leather. Like when a server comes out, selling the gold, the raw gold you make is super effective for making money early on. So every time you kill a mob, you make a couple more coppers, a couple more silvers from that mob because you skin it and you vendor it, and that's how you make your freaking money. If you do not care about professions, you should take skinning because it doesn't take you anything to do and it is money in your pocket. Skinning is amazing and I always level with skinning. That's something I learned from the Chinese bots. If you take a look at all the speed leveling bots, they all use skinning, and that's for that reason. You can afford your mount a little earlier. Skinning, very good. If you are not decided on what to pick up, skinning is always a great thing to pick up. Tailoring is an amazing profession for 2 things. One of the things is you can make yourself a robe. Let me see in the list here. There is a robe in here. The robe of the Archmage or something like that. There you go. Okay, all of these. are tailoring unique items. There is an entire set here, okay? This is gonna be best in slot. Actually, stat-wise, it is better than your tier 1 robes, okay? The robe of the Archmage, you can craft it, only you can have it, it's BOP. If you make it, this thing is better than tier 1 set. The problem, of course, is that you need the tier 1 for the set bonus, so eventually you're gonna have to leave it, but it is insane. You get a bunch of free mana, it has 1% crit and 40 spell power, amazing robe. Another cool thing about the tailoring stuff is you can make it and then drop tailoring and get something else. If you like the super tryhard people, like the insanely like sweaty people, that's what they do. You can also get an equivalent for the Warlock, which is really good, and you can even get a healing one, which is also very good. So tailoring, straight up, if you're a caster, tailoring is one free best in slot chest piece. So like your biggest item is for free as a tailor. And that's huge. I think that alone is a huge bunch of value for tailoring. Now, if you pick up tailoring, you can just disenchant all the clothes you make. So tailoring and enchanting is a winning combination. Tailoring and enchanting is super broken because you can use your tailoring to fund your enchanting journey, and you're always going to be picking up cloth along the way, right? Every humanoid you kill has a chance to drop cloth and you turn it into items. Now, when it comes to making money, tailoring, the only way to make money is making bags, and that's only early on. After you make your bags and everybody gets their bags, that's worthless basically. There is a cooldown you can get, the Mooncloth cooldown, and that's also really good. Mooncloth is what you need to make the crafted gear. You take Felcloth and some other thing. No, that's just Felcloth, okay. So you just take Felcloth and you craft it, and you make Mooncloth, which is like a very valuable commodity. And because it has a 4 freaking day cooldown, you can charge a very high premium. You can charge like 20 to 30 gold to make a single one of these, depending on your server. So once you max out tailoring, you still got a passive money maker. All you gotta do is log out every 4 days, make one Mooncloth, and that's money in your pocket. Once again, like leatherworking, very good way to make money. So if you're going in tailoring, I would recommend you go tailoring and enchanting. That's basically the best way to do it. And there is a lot of money to be made, and there is a best in slot item for you for free as a tailor. So I think tailoring is one of the best professions in the game right now. And finally, of course, the big one, the big freaking profession in the game we're gonna be talking about, and that's gonna be engineering. Engineering is gonna be easily the most popular profession in all of vanilla. It's always the most popular profession in vanilla, and that's for a very simple reason. Almost anything you make as an engineer is only to benefit you, and that means you need engineering to use every engineering thing. What do you get access for by engineering? The main one is bombs. You can get grenades, you can get the sappers, all that stuff, right? I don't know how to draw up one of those like this. Grenades and bombs, you just throw them in the ground. It's an AoE spell, which, once again, a lot of classes in vanilla, almost every class in vanilla does not have an AoE. So AoE damage is very valuable on its own. And they stun the target too. So they are super broken in PvP. And if you're gonna PvP seriously at all, you have to get engineering. Of course, then you got the sappers, the goblin sappers. That's like a super big bomb. And the super big sapper is very important for the tryhard guilds. Because every alt phase, every trash pool in WoW, if you stack like 10 sappers back to back, you make everybody throw their sappers, the trash pretty much gets one shot. And that lets you do things like skipping the alt phase in Nefarian. Basically, you can just one shot Nefarian with that. The ads on Nefarian, right? You can clear the raid a lot faster. It's just an insanely strong ability to have a bunch of sappers. So if you're in a tryhard speedrunning guild, whatever, you gotta get a sapper. Your parses are gonna look a lot better with a sapper because they count for your DPS. And there is a lot of things for engineering too. You got the Seaforium, get it? Seaforium, which is basically blowing up doors. You can use Seaforium to open any door in the game almost. So the Dire Mall door, for example, you know how you gotta crack out a door in Dire Mall to get to the next place and stuff. You just blow it up. The BRD door, I think you can also blow that door up. So you get pretty much lock picking for BRD and for Dire Mall and that stuff. Really cool. You also got the Repair Bot. The Repair Bot is just an item you throw in the ground and you summon an NPC that you can repair. So if you're in a guild, if you're in a raid and you wipe, and you need to repair, you don't have to go to the city and repair. You can just drop a repair bot and everybody can repair there, so that's amazing. Yeah, you can teleport to Gadget Sun. That's actually a cool item to have, because Gadget Sun is right next to Onyxia, so if you gotta go to Onyxia, especially as Alliance, it's kind of a pain in the butt. The teleport from Engineering is actually really good. Then you got the Target Dummies. That's the name of my guild, by the way. Our guild is called Target Dummies. So you can just summon a Target Dummy and it picks up the aggro from the mob and it just soaks up one attack basically. Really convenient sometimes. You see a lot of hardcore clips of people saving themselves with a Target Dummy. Jumper cables. Where are the jumper cables? This one is actually low-key pretty big if you're a druid, because you don't have a res. You can auto-combat, you can res somebody, it is a random chance. You don't get a res every time, but you can res some people sometimes. And that can save you a run back into the dungeon again, like if you can res a priest or something, that's kinda cool. If you got engineering, you should really get it, because any specialization of engineers can get it. There is 2 specializations of engineers, gnomish and goblin. The thing is that most of the gnomish things, you can still get them, you can still use them, and they just buy the others. You cannot craft these ones, but you can still use them. Most people go goblin though. Most people go goblin. It's fine either one you get. There is a lot of stuff here. Okay, this is the sapper. Look at this. 450 AoE damage. And it doesn't sound like a lot, right? But everybody has it. Like every warrior is going engineering basically. If you got 20 people doing a sapper, 450 times 20, that's enough to one-shot any mob. Every boss that summons adds, you just drop this thing and boom, they are dead. That's insane. The sappers are like some of the most broken things in the game. The rocket boots, that's also for PvP. You're gonna see this a lot. You can run fast. That's just for speed. The helmet and the boots, you can get both actually, and they have a separate cooldown. The goblin helmet, mandatory for PvP. You're gonna see this helmet in every BG ever at level 60, and that's for the simple reason that this thing stuns you. So it is super busted. There's also the mind control cap, isn't it? There you go. The mind control cap, another super broken item for PvP right here. You just get a mind control on whoever, humanoid, like a priest. Super busted. You're gonna see a lot of like the montages or the PvPers, they do like a 2v1. This is how they get a 2v1. They just mind control somebody and make him kill somebody else. You know, it's super strong. So PvP, basically all I'm trying to say, if you're a PvPer, you want engineering. If you're a speedrunner, you want engineering. If you're a parser, you want engineering. Engineering is the most broken profession in the freaking game, and it will continue to be. That's great news for the miners. If you wanna mine, you're gonna make a bunch of money because you're gonna be selling the shovels for the people that wanna mine the gold. That's the engineers, you know that saying? That's how you make your money here. Pretty much any class will benefit from engineering, and that's what makes engineering so broken, and there is no way around it. You can't compete without it. So conclusion is gonna be get engineering and something else, probably. That's what you should do if you're a tryhard. Personally, I'm gonna take skinning and mining if I feel like it, but skinning, and I'm just gonna hit level 60 and then I'm gonna level up engineering on one sitting. That's gonna be me, and that's what most people should do. Leveling with engineering is not a huge deal. Leveling with any profession is not a huge deal. You should really focus on leveling up faster. This is more of a level 60 content. That's when it actually freaking matters. But yeah, what profession are you gonna go? What profession are you gonna go? Let me know in the comments. Subscribe, join the Discord, and thank you for watching.